All right, just a quick video to show my little Speedobooster thing. What it does is it intercepts the signal going to both the speedometer and the boost gauge. For the speedometer, and it has little trim pots for both gauges. And what it does is, for the speedometer, it lets you calibrate the speedometer to be accurate. My speedometer always showed about 10 miles too fast on the freeway. So I'd be going 60 miles an hour and the speedometer would show 70. It just got really obnoxious. And my tires are the stock size. So it was just an inaccurate speedometer. But this would work if you have, oversized tires or undersized tires, and that's making your speedometer inaccurate. This allows you to make it spot on pretty much no matter what your situation is. The boost thing is totally different. It lets you take a signal from your own map sensor, like a GM map sensor or Zetronics, and pipe it into this box, and then it sends the signal. Well, it adjusts the signal so that it's compatible with the factory boost gauge, and then it lets you run the factory boost gauge, that gauge from this box. And so for people that don't have a KLR, this is an easy way to make the factory, the dash boost gauge work. It also has little jumpers inside so that if you want, you can make it so that it operates just like a factory boost gauge. So up to 1 is vacuum, and then from 1 to 2 is 0 to 1 bar of boost. You can do that, but you can also have it so that the numbers represent actual boost. So 1 could be 10 psi and 2 could be 20 psi, for example. There's a couple of different settings like that. I ended up putting it back to the factory way because I like to see the vacuum. But for a long time I ran it the other way, so that, in fact, I had it for a while where 1 was 1 bar of boost and 2 was 2 bars of boost. And I would run it and keep an eye on the boost that way. So between 1 and 2 was basically between 15 and 30. And so I hopefully didn't get too far over 1, but sometimes I got pretty close. So anyway, that's what the Speedobooster does. I thought I'd also show off my little bench test unit thing I made. This box has a couple of basically Arduinos. I'm not sure if they're Arduinos. There's something like that. A couple of little microcontrollers in there, and they're connected to these knobs, so I can simulate whatever speed I want on the speedometer. So it just basically creates the same pulse that you get from the speedometer sensor. So let's say we set that at 70, and then it does the same thing with the boost gauge. It simulates the signal that's coming from the KLR on a stock car. So let's say that was at the 1 on the gauge. If those are not accurate, for example, if the speedometer it's showing whatever it's showing, 70, but if you're actually going more like 80, you can just turn the little trim pot, make the car show that it's going 80. Or if it was really going 60, you turn it down and say it's really going 60, not 70. And it has a pretty fine range. So if if it was really 61, you can go to 61, etc., etc. And then the same thing with the boost gauge. If you wanted to hook up regulated air to the map sensor, you can calibrate the boost sensor as well by going up and down, so that whatever it reads on the gauge is actually what PSI you're seeing. So that's it. That is the Speedobooster.